Hello, good evening. It's Adil Fazal here, market analyst at CFDs.com, a leading spread betting and brokerage firm. Certainly be sure to visit www.cfds.com to certainly learn more and certainly partake with regards to the products and services that they have on offer. With regards to the educational site, be sure to visit www.cfds.education, and where I share my charts and analysis on a daily basis. Okay, interesting day today. Chinese markets overnight thrust higher quite substantially, given the fact that I did discuss in my video yesterday as well that obviously weaker inflation data in China certainly will propel the markets higher. Now, if I just bring up the chart of the Shanghai, I'm not sure why it's not in here. I did add this on yesterday. And you will clearly see the thrust higher that we obviously have witnessed today. Not only that, you will also see the move in the Nikkei, given the fact that we had the impressive move of gap fill. So as you can see here, the market or Nasdaq Nikkei hit gap fill, bounced off the gap fill level. Okay, and we do have obviously multiple gaps above. So you can see the Nikkei bouncing as well, and you can see the Shanghai also. To bring up a daily chart of Shanghai, you can see that it's thrust higher into a new level. Next resistance zone certainly seems to be higher up for now. Okay, that certainly seems to be the scenario or situation. In terms of fundamentals, in terms of economic data overall, it was more or less today was really its all emphasis really was on the US markets. And nothing really out of Europe or the UK throughout the day, other than the fact that the UK or the FTSE 100 was certainly subdued and under pressure by Burberry. Burberry, which stock was down by 10% given the profit warning, so that certainly exerted pressure on the downside in terms of the FTSE 100. So that was the overriding bearish factor there, even though we shrugged off the given the fact that the FTSE itself did gap higher. If I just bring up a chart of the FTSE 100. As you can see here, looking at a 10-minute chart, we obviously gapped higher quite substantially in the morning, almost by 50 to 60 points. And certainly the market has been thrusting higher ever since. At the moment, it's currently trading at 6367, so certainly quite impressively higher on the actual FTSE 100. Now, we did have the overriding concerns overnight from Walmart and Netflix, given the fact that they were the stock was down by 10% in terms of Walmart, and obviously Netflix was down by 14%, I think, at one time. So quite a substantial drop in terms of its stock. And now that obviously has been shrugged off again in terms of the Nasdaq, currently trading at 4403. So certainly is shaking off any signs of weakness there at present. Okay, so given the fact that we had the Burberry bombshell, we had Asian markets higher overnight quite substantially. The Shanghai rose almost 2%. The Nikkei was certainly subsequently higher as well by 1%. Okay. Then we had the other factor with regards to US markets, and that certainly has propelled the markets higher thus far, given the fact that we've had some dovish comments as well. Although we did get the Brazilian downgrade, that certainly has been ignored thus far. We had CPI data come out actually a bit higher than expected. Initial jobless claims actually came out better than expected as well. So the inflation data wasn't as weak as to suggest obviously potential delay in rate hikes, and the jobless claims data wasn't of any concern either. But the US markets certainly have interpreted that as being bullish, and the markets are obviously rallying at present. Okay, we did have some negative data with regards to the Philadelphia Fed manufacturing survey that came out 3 times as worse than expected. And we had the Bullard speech and Dudley speech. That was certainly mixed signals in there all in all. Okay, now the oil price has dropped as well. The oil price certainly has been under pressure, currently trading at 45. We certainly sold off and lost all our gains, given that over the last few days. Or this week itself. Bear with me, we're outside to demonstrate that to you. If I just bring up a chart of oil, you can see that we subsequently fell as low as 45 before we reversed. So currently still in the 45 region, given the fact that the rally itself has been negated. Now if I just bring up a 4-hour chart, you can certainly see that we bounced off the 44 level and we're back down to the $45 region on the price of oil. So therefore, potential risk-off scenario there. Okay, and certainly is not bullish from my understanding. Also, the price of copper as well certainly has held the highs before selling off subsequently. So you can see here triple top resistance on there as well. So certainly a risk-off scenario from the way in which I perceive and the way in which I understand it thus far. Okay, now in terms of European indices, if I just bring up a chart of the German DAX, no real economic data there at all, other than the fact that we did have some jawboning. We had an ECB official talk about inflation expectations not meeting the mark, and obviously that sent the Euro USD lower. If you bring up a chart of the Euro USD, you can see we're back into that support zone on Euro USD. We hit a pivot high of 1.1415 before this jawboning started, and we dropped 120 pips. So therefore, you are looking at a potential risk-off scenario here, all in all. Okay, in terms of the German DAX itself, more or less a positive day overall. Obviously, the German DAX itself finished as high as 1.5%, but we still have this H&S formation. So the right shoulder certainly is in play. Okay, on the 60-minute chart. The 10-minute chart itself certainly is exhaustion in this zone at present. Okay, so certainly keep a watch out and observe there. The French CAC itself on a daily chart. Bring up the French CAC. Okay, so daily chart at present, again, you are still holding that resistance zone at 4736. The 60-minute chart itself, again, you are coming up into gap fill support. So if you look at a 10-minute chart of the French CAC, you can see that the gap fill is around the 4690 level, and that's exactly where we currently reside. So you are into resistance at present, given the fact that the Euro USD is into support. Okay, bringing up the chart of the Euro stocks, just bear with me 1 second whilst I discuss the Euro stocks as well. 1 second whilst I just bring up the chart of the Euro stocks. Okay, so the chart of the Euro stocks. Okay, here we go. So the daily chart of the Euro stocks at present, again, we are holding that gap fill resistance. So certainly a risk-off scenario. 60-minute chart at the moment, we have gone back into that zone at 6260 resistance currently. Sorry, 3250 resistance. So currently 3260 remains a key level. Okay, given the fact that, like I said, Euro USD is into support, that will certainly be a risk-off scenario. And we failed to propel all day past the 3245 level, so that's certainly interesting at present. Okay, now with regards to the FTSE 100, let's go to the daily chart there. The current market price at present is 6369, so we certainly negated the bearish or red candle, okay, on the daily chart. But whether or not that can be sustained is another question. The 60-minute chart at present, you are looking at a obviously a failed H&S, but overall it's all about the actual retrace. So 6360, 6380 is your fib retracement. So again, that needs to be observed. 6360 again is horizontal resistance on the chart. We are still looking at lower highs at present. Okay, so just bear that in mind. We did have a H&S brewing potentially on the FTSE itself, but that obviously has failed. So the next resistance zone is 6360. If that fails, then you are looking at 6370 and then other zones above, okay, with regards to the FTSE 100 itself. But there is an expanding wedge type formation trying to accumulate here. So again, this is something that we'll certainly observe and watch in terms of the FTSE. But given the fact that copper obviously and oil are certainly weak, then I expect the FTSE 100 to certainly reverse as well. Okay, that's my interpretation thus far. Again, you're looking at 6270 support and 6360 resistance to 6380. Okay, and that's the zones that we're certainly observing or looking out for. Okay, that's basically where we stand at present. The FTSE 250, I can certainly bring that up as well. The FTSE 250, where art thou? Okay, it's not actually included in this, so let me just add that on as well. Okie dokie. We should have it here. FTSE 250 index. There we go. Okay, so the FTSE 250, looking at on daily chart, you have bounced off that support zone, but whether or not that can be obviously sustained, again, will be certainly put into question. and that's something that we are going to watch, given the fact that we have pushed off the lows. So certainly impressive push off the lows, and whether or not it can be sustained is yet another question. So we are currently looking at lower highs. So your fib retracement now, we are into this 50 to 61% resistance, and it's all about those lower highs at this juncture. If we just connect these two together, okay, there we go, around the 17,000 region. Okay, on the FTSE 250 itself. Again, the onus is all about the Federal Reserve. The inflation data wasn't as weak as expected, nor was the jobless claim, so therefore the concept of delaying rate hikes is certainly pushed back. Dollar is certainly into support. If I bring up a chart of the US dollar as well, you can clearly see that we're holding that double bottom, and we certainly have bounced on that double bottom thus far. Looking at a 60-minute chart, you'll see that's clear that this horizontal support is holding, given the fact, like I stated, that the inflation data wasn't as weak as expected. The doji candle is certainly in, so you are finding support, and this diagonal trend line support certainly is being held. So diagonal plus horizontal support, if the dollar is into support, and that generally means that the FTSE and commodities are into resistance, and you are looking at potential reversal at present. And that's basically what I'll be observing as well. Whether or not the markets interpret the actual Chinese or rally or the Asian rally overnight as something that can be sustained, again, is into question. But the fact that the Nasdaq has rallied quite substantially, even though with Netflix and obviously Walmart concerns, that has to be very, very impressive. So we certainly seem to be in that QE mode. That QE mode certainly will get tested from my interpretation, and it's basically how the US markets close today that will be absolutely key. Like I said, the dollar is certainly into support, so that's certainly bearish for the FTSE 100, given the fact that commodities remain weak for the day. I think that's a wrap. Again, the price action towards, especially in the US market, certainly is confusing a lot of individuals, given the fact that Asia certainly threw in a curveball. I'm going to discuss US markets shortly after I finish this video, and hopefully that'll give you more of an insight. But in terms of the FTSE, certainly is into resistance. In terms of European markets, into resistance. And we shall see how the market trades in the next 24 hours. For now, the euro is in double bottom, so therefore that's a risk-off scenario, and we'll see how the market trades. Take care. Be sure to visit cfds.com for your trading needs. Goodbye now.